We're going tomorrow, Mom. I've sold your beach house. She said it so casually, as if she were talking about returning a dress, not erasing my entire life. My name is Helen Carter. I am 68 years old, a widow, and the beach house was never just a house to me. It was the last place my husband and I laughed together. The place where my children learned to swim. The place where grief slowly softened after I lost him. I bought that house with my husband 40 years ago. It was in my name. Always had been. My daughter, Rebecca, had moved in with me 3 years earlier after her divorce. I welcomed her without hesitation. She brought her teenage son, and I gave them the upstairs rooms. I cooked, cleaned, watched my grandson after school, and quietly paid most of the bills. At first, she was grateful. Then she became confident. Too confident. She started calling the house ours. She redecorated without asking. She invited friends for weekends and told me, "You don't mind, right? It's my home too." The night she told me the house was sold, she stood in the kitchen scrolling on her phone. "I signed everything," she said. "We'll use the money to start fresh. You'll love the new place." I couldn't speak. My hands were shaking. "You sold my house?" I finally whispered. She sighed, annoyed. "Mom, don't be dramatic. I handled it. You don't need to worry about paperwork at your age." At my age. I nodded slowly and said nothing more. I went to my room, closed the door, and sat on the bed where my husband used to read every night. Rebecca thought I was weak. She had no idea what she had just triggered. That night, I didn't cry. I called my lawyer. The same man who had helped my husband and me draft our wills decades ago. The same man who had warned me, years back, to never add anyone's name to the property deed, not even family. I hadn't. Rebecca didn't know that. She also didn't know that the beach house was placed under a protected trust after my husband's death. Any sale without my direct presence, consent, and signature was legally impossible. "What about the buyer?" I asked calmly. My lawyer paused. "There is no legal buyer. Only forged documents." Forgery. The next morning, Rebecca was cheerful. Boxes were packed. A rental truck waited outside. "We're leaving early," she said. "I already transferred the deposit." I nodded. Of course. When the doorbell rang, she assumed it was the driver. It wasn't. 2 police officers stood there, followed by my lawyer. Rebecca's smile froze. The officers explained everything slowly. The fake signatures. The invalid contract. The criminal charge. She screamed. She cried. She turned to me. "Mom, you knew? You did this to me?" I looked at her, heart heavy but voice steady. "No," I said. "You did this to yourself." My grandson stood in the hallway, confused and scared. That was the part that hurt most. Rebecca was taken in for questioning. The sale was cancelled. The money she thought she had was never real. That evening, the house was silent again. But the hardest truth was still ahead. Rebecca didn't go to prison, but the consequences were real. Charges were filed. Trust was broken. She moved out a month later, quieter than I had ever seen her. Before leaving, she asked one question. "Why didn't you just stop me?" I answered honestly. "Because you stopped seeing me as your mother. You saw me as something you could manage." After she left, I sold the beach house myself. Not out of anger, but closure. I donated part of the money. I set up a college fund for my grandson. And with the rest, I bought a small seaside apartment, just for me. Some mornings, I sit on the balcony with coffee and watch the waves. I think about love, boundaries, and how easily kindness can be mistaken for weakness. Family should never mean entitlement. And respect should never depend on age. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe, because some lessons are learned only when it's almost too late.